If Tinubu can forgive Reno, FFK and Bwala, why not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What exactly is the sin of the Igbo people? In Nigeria today, there is a question that keeps coming back, no matter how many times politicians try to avoid it. A question millions of Nigerians whisper privately, but only a few are bold enough to ask publicly. And the question is simple. If President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can forgive Reno Omokri, if he can forgive Daniel Bwala, if he can forgive Femi Fani-Kayode, if he can forgive Bosun Tijani, if he can embrace men who once insulted him openly, mocked him boldly, and campaigned aggressively against him, why then is forgiveness impossible for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Why is reconciliation easy for some, but unreachable for others? Why is mercy available for political critics, but not for a man whose case has divided the whole region, a whole generation? Something is not adding up. Something is not connecting. And Nigerians deserve to ask this question with boldness. But let's break this matter down carefully, because it is not just about individuals. It is about fairness. It is about consistency. It is about whether the Nigerian political system treats every group equally. Let's start with what we can all see clearly. Over the past few years, many of the loudest voices that once attacked Tinubu, both online and offline, are the same people dining with him today.
Bola Tinubu is a non-drug lord. It's not an unreasonable word. I've got facts to back it up. I've got documents to back it up. I spent my money. I went to Chicago. I went to the court. I got the certified true copies. Bola Tinubu is a drug lord. That is not an unprintable name.
Reno Omokri, this man, for months, vowed never to work with Tinubu. He criticized him. He dismissed him. He painted him as the wrong choice for Nigeria. But today, Reno has shifted ground and now supports the same government he rejected. No consequences, no judgment. Forgiveness was instant. Doors were opened. Daniel Bwala, this one campaigned aggressively for Atiku. He stood on national TV and said Tinubu was not the right man. He wrote articles. He granted interviews. He attacked the same administration he now praises. Yet today, Bwala is one of Tinubu's loudest defenders. He is welcomed. He is celebrated. He is forgiven. Femi Fani-Kayode, FFK. This one publicly insulted Tinubu in the past. He called him names. He used strong, unforgettable words. But today, the past does not matter. Tinubu embraced him fully. Bosun Tijani, this one once tweeted highly critical comments about the APC and Tinubu himself. But today he is a minister, a top position, everything forgotten, everything forgiven. So Nigerians are asking, if forgiveness was available for these four men, what makes Nnamdi Kanu different? This is not a tribal question. This is not an ethnic question. It is a fairness question. It is a leadership question. Because when we look deeper, not emotionally but logically, another painful reality appears. Why is Tinubu quick to forgive his critics from one part of the country, but the same mercy is not extended to the southeast? Let's leave emotions aside and face facts. Tinubu gave Ogun State, one single state, 6 ministerial slots. 6. One state, one region, one political bloc. He gave the Southwest over 10 ambassadorial and strategic appointments. 10. Some states got multiple positions. Some got repeated influence. Now compare that to the Southeast. Only 5 ambassadorial slots, not even per state. 5 for the entire region. The question now becomes unavoidable. What exactly is the sin of the Igbo people? What offense has an entire region committed that makes it so easy to overlook them? What rule did they break that makes forgiveness for their own son, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, impossible? Because look around this country carefully. People who did worse, people who insulted Tinubu directly, we are forgiven. People who campaigned against him hard, we are embraced. People who opposed him loudly are in government today. Yet Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remains a subject of endless court cases, political discussions, and national tension. Why? Is he too important a symbol? Are his ideas too influential? Is his movement too powerful to be ignored? Is the government afraid of the message he carries? Or is it simply a case of political mathematics, where forgiveness is easier when it benefits power and harder when it benefits ordinary people? These are the questions Nigerians must answer honestly, because a nation that forgives selectively is a nation that plants the seeds of resentment. A nation that embraces some but rejects others is a nation building future conflict. Let us make one thing clear. This is not about supporting or rejecting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is about fairness. This is about equal treatment. This is about the principle that if forgiveness and political reconciliation are good for some, they should also be available to others. If Tinubu wants national unity, then unity must not be selective. If he wants peace, then peace cannot be one-directional. If he wants healing, then healing must cover the whole nation, not only one parts that supported him during the election. Forgiving Reno is good. Forgiving Bwala is good. Forgiving Bosun is good. Forgiving FFK is good. But if we celebrate forgiveness for them, why is mercy impossible for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Why is dialogue off the table? Why is political settlement impossible? Why must one region remain in tension while others enjoy appointments and recognition? Nigeria will not move forward if one part feels included and another feels punished. Unity does not grow from silence. Unity grows from fairness, from dialogue, from the courage to say the truth plainly. And the truth is this: if forgiveness is a political tool in Nigeria, then every group deserves equal access to it. Not only the powerful, not only the influencers, not only the ones with connections, but every Nigerian, including the Igbo people. So today, we ask again, what exactly is the sin of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What exactly is the sin of the Igbo people? Why is forgiveness easy for some and impossible for others? Until Nigeria confronts this question sincerely, unity will remain a slogan, justice will remain selective, and peace will remain fragile.